Lives bending, adjusting, and shrinking ourselves just to fit into the boxes others have created for us. We say yes when we want to say no, we hide our opinions, and we ignore our ambitions just to avoid disapproval. But here's the truth. The world doesn't respect conformity, it respects courage. It respects those who dare to stand for who they are, even if standing tall makes others uncomfortable. Growth is never convenient. It's never easy. It forces us to confront the parts of ourselves we have long ignored, the habits we have tolerated, and the fears we have allowed to define our lives. And when you step into that uncomfortable space, when you choose to grow even at the cost of approval, something remarkable happens. People start to see you differently. Not because you are seeking their validation, but because you have begun validating yourself. Change, in its essence, is a signal of strength. It tells the world that you refuse to be confined by the life you were handed, by the expectations placed upon you, or by the identity that once defined you. Every time you challenge yourself to think differently, to act differently, or to rise above old limitations, you send a message not with words, but with presence. You show the world that you are not trapped by fear, that you are not imprisoned by habits that no longer serve you, and that you refuse to remain the same person just because it is comfortable. People often resist this kind of change because it holds up a mirror to them, reflecting the parts of themselves they have avoided facing. That resistance is not your problem, is a confirmation that you are moving in the right direction. Growth always unsettles those who are unwilling to grow, and that discomfort is a natural part of your transformation. When you stop living to be accepted, you stop existing in the shadows of other people's expectations. You start to live in your own light, guided by your values, your vision, and your purpose. And here's the beautiful thing. The moment you embrace this truth, your worth becomes unmistakable. It no longer depends on applause, compliments, or social approval. Your value rises because it is rooted in authenticity, in integrity, and in the relentless pursuit of becoming a better version of yourself. Every step you take toward growth, every habit you break, every fear you face, compounds this value. You are no longer defined by the comfort of the past, but by the courage of the present. You become someone others look up to, not because you demand it, but because you embody it. Respect is the currency of real value. People may admire wealth, talent, or charm, but lasting respect comes from integrity, accountability, and the willingness to lead by example. When you embrace responsibility, you position yourself as someone who can be trusted, counted on, and followed. That trust translates into influence, opportunities, and the ability to shape your own destiny. Responsibility transforms potential into results, ideas into achievements, and dreams into reality. In the end, change is not simply about doing more, it is about owning more, owning your choices, owning your growth, and owning the person you are becoming. The more responsibility you take for yourself, the more respect you earn from others, and the more your value increases. This is the principle that separates those who wait for life to happen from those who make life happen. Responsibility is not a burden, it is the path to undeniable value, lasting influence, and true personal power. Growth separates you from excuses. Excuses are the language of stagnation. They are what we tell ourselves to justify why we didn't start, why we didn't try, or why we didn't achieve what we knew we were capable of achieving. But the moment you commit to growth, excuses begin to lose their power over you. They no longer define your story or shape your reality. Growth demands accountability, focus, and action. And it refuses to accept the easy comfort of blaming circumstances, other people, or the challenges life throws at you. When you grow, you stop reacting to life passively and start responding with purpose, strategy, and determination. Acting with intention is the hallmark of a person who has embraced growth. Every choice, every effort, and every decision is made with awareness and direction. You no longer drift through life hoping for results. You design your path and work relentlessly to follow it. Excuses have no place in this mindset because action has replaced rationalization. You recognize that setbacks are not signals to quit, but lessons to learn. Challenges are not walls to stop you, but stepping stones to elevate you. This shift transforms you into someone the world notices not for what you say, but for what you do consistently and without hesitation. People value those who move with purpose. Purpose is magnetic because it demonstrates clarity, discipline, and unwavering commitment. When others see someone moving forward in spite of fear, fatigue, or uncertainty, it inspires confidence and respect. Standing firm in storms is another sign of growth. Life will always test you. Circumstances will try to pull you back to comfort, to safety, to the familiar. But growth equips you with resilience, allowing you to weather challenges without losing momentum. The stronger you become internally, the less influence external pressures have over your decisions and actions. Excuses crumble when met with this kind of inner strength. Moving forward when comfort calls you back is one of the most powerful indicators of growth. Comfort is seductive. It whispers that it is easier to pause, to settle, or to take the path of least resistance. But growth refuses this temptation. Growth understands that comfort does not create value, does not build character, and does not lead to achievement. Every step taken outside of comfort is a declaration that you are prioritizing progress over ease. It is a visible reminder to yourself and to the world that you are committed to becoming a better version of yourself, regardless of the obstacles or the skepticism of others. Ultimately, growth transforms your relationship with excuses. It replaces hesitation with action, fear with confidence, and doubt with purpose. People are naturally drawn to those who act with clarity, courage, and determination, because these qualities signal that success is not accidentally, is intentional. When you grow, you become the kind of person who inspires, influences, and leads. You no longer need to explain yourself or defend your choices. Your actions speak louder than words, and the value of your character and presence rises naturally, effortlessly, and undeniably. Excuses fade, growth endures, and your life becomes a testament to what is possible when you refuse to settle for anything less than your best self. Your standards define your worth. Too often, we measure value by what we say, by the promises we make, or by the recognition we hope to receive. But true value is revealed in the standards you set for yourself, the daily habits you refuse to compromise, the quality of work you deliver, and the way you expect to be treated by yourself and others. When you choose to change, you are not just altering your actions. You are redefining the baseline of what you will accept in your life. Growth is not simply doing more or achieving more. It is refusing to settle for less than what you know you are capable of. Raising your standards transforms every area of your life. It begins with how you work. Excellence becomes non-negotiable. Mediocrity is no longer tolerated, not because of ego, but because you recognize that your potential deserves full effort. Every task, every project, every responsibility is an opportunity to reflect the quality you now expect from yourself. When you work with higher standards, people notice not because you boast, but because consistency and quality speak louder than words. Your reputation becomes a mirror of the standards you hold, and people naturally align their expectations with the level of excellence you project. Your standards also affect how you communicate, how you speak to yourself and to others. Words carry energy, intention, and respect. When you raise your standards, you speak with clarity, honesty, and purpose. You eliminate negative self-talk, gossip, and needless arguments that drain your energy and dilute your influence. You begin to value meaningful conversations, decisive communication, and integrity in every interaction. Others respond not simply to what you say you deserve, but to the strength of character and intentionality you consistently demonstrate. Your words become a reflection of your elevated self, and your presence commands respect because it is rooted in authenticity and self-discipline. How you treat yourself is perhaps the most important standard of all. Change begins internally with how you honor your body, your mind, and your time. When you refuse to tolerate habits, relationships, or situations that diminish you, you are setting a standard that the world cannot ignore. Self-respect is contagious. When you value yourself, others are compelled to value you in return. Standards are not rules imposed on yourself, they are commitments to the person you are becoming, commitments that shape your environment, your opportunities, and ultimately your life. The world responds not to promises, not to aspirations, but to consistency. People notice what you tolerate, what you refuse to compromise, and how relentlessly you uphold the standards you have set. Change is visible in these patterns. When you elevate your standards, excuses lose power, mediocrity is left behind, and your worth becomes undeniable. This is how influence grows, how respect is earned, and how your life transforms from ordinary to exceptional. Your standards are the invisible force that shapes your destiny. By raising them, you do not just improve, you declare to the world that you will accept nothing less than the highest version of yourself. And in doing so, you naturally increase your value in ways that are powerful, lasting, and impossible to ignore. Change turns struggle into credibility. Every person faces challenges, obstacles, and setbacks. But not everyone responds to them in a way that builds respect or influence. Many people talk about what they want, what they hope for, and what they believe they deserve. But talk alone does not inspire, it is action that commands attention. True credibility comes from transforming your struggles into stepping stones. From taking the difficulties that life hands you and using them as fuel to rise higher, stronger, and wiser than before. When you change, when you commit to growth and improvement, every struggle you endure begins to work in your favor. It is no longer a weight that drags you down. It becomes proof of your resilience, your discipline, and your commitment to becoming a better version of yourself. Anyone can claim to know the path to success. Anyone can offer advice, give speeches, or write books. But few people actually walk the path. Few people endure the sleepless nights, the failures, the doubts, and the moments when the easiest choice is to quit. Transformation is rare because it requires consistent effort, humility, and courage. It requires acknowledging your weaknesses and working tirelessly to overcome them. And it is this rarity that gives your story value. When people see you change, when they witness your struggles turning into achievements, they understand that your experience is real, tested, and proven. Your credibility is no longer theoretically, is visible, tangible, and undeniable. Your story carries weight because it is authentic. When you speak from the place of experience, when you share lessons learned from your own challenges and victories, your voice resonates with truth. People listen not because you are loud, but because you have earned the right to be heard. They recognize that your guidance is grounded in reality, not in speculation. The power of your story lies in its honesty, the willingness to admit past failures, to acknowledge the pain, and to show how change transformed you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. That authenticity commands attention, respect, and trust. Because people are drawn to those who have done the work, not just talked about it. Your presence carries influence because you have walked the road, not just imagined it. Influence is not about position, titles, or accolades. It is about the impact you have on others through your actions. When you demonstrate through your life that growth is possible, that transformation is achievable, and that challenges can be overcome, you become a living example of what is possible. People are inspired by what they see, not what they hear. Your credibility becomes a magnet, drawing others to learn from you, follow your example, and strive for their own transformation.